As usual, he says hello. JD, always a pleasure. How are you today, buddy? Okay?
Good, thanks, Chris. How about you?
I'm okay, JD. Nice to talk. As usual, how things going? Things okay?
Yeah, things are okay. We open tomorrow. The Blue Jackets do against Washington in Washington. We got into Washington yesterday, had a good practice at their facility, and we're ready to go. It's going to be fun.
Do you like the way this? You've been hurt here. You had to play Pittsburgh the last couple times. That's not easy. I prefer 1 through 8, JD, myself. So you get the two best teams who have the most points to have a chance to play in the conference final. The NHL, I just had Bettman on. He says there's no foreseen change with the format. What's your take on it? You like it this way, or you like it the 1 through 8 way in both conferences? How do you see it?
You know, one year I look at it and I go, geez, we should do 1 against 8. The next year I look at it and say, well, this is okay. So I look at it, Chris, is I have no choice. This is what it is. I'm not going to whine, complain, zero. I'm going to play. Our league is so close. There's so many teams that are so good. And you look at this thing and you go, boy, oh boy, we think we have a strong chance. They think they have a strong chance. The key is going into the playoffs is to have your team playing well, which we think we are, and also to try to be healthy, and we are. So we're excited about going at this thing. Our league over the last weekend of the regular season, nobody really knew who was playing who. That's how close this whole thing is. It's absolutely crazy. And I'll tell you another thing, Chris. It's very, very difficult to make the playoffs in this league now. With the, I guess you'd term it parity. There's a lot of very good teams that are very close, and it's hard to get in. And we're in. We had an incredible record the last 14, 15 games, and we got in by a point. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and look at St. Louis, good year. They had to go play in Denver. And I tell you, give the Panthers credit. I mean, not only did they give you, but not only that, they go to Boston, JD, and the Bruins are playing to avoid maybe the Toronto and get the Devils. And Florida beats them in Boston after that snow game early in the year, and they beat them on Sunday afternoon. And Florida's going on vacation. That's a hell of a job by the Panthers in that game. You know that?
Yeah, they were fantastic down the stretch. They really were. They won their last 2 games without their best forward, a kid by the name of Barkov, who's a terrific centerman, great big horse. And they won those without him. He was injured. So I give them a great deal of credit. They've got to be really frustrated not getting in, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of optimism there. Their club, Dale Talon, does a great job. Vinny Viola, their owner, is a guy that's pushing. So they've got a young team. They're going to be in pretty good shape. It'll be another battle next year when we get back to it.
Well, it reminds me of your team a few years ago. What'd you go, 15-0-1 the last 16 games? Is that what it was, JD, when you weren't in the playoffs? Last year we had 17 games, I think. It was 16 or 17 games. But then we had like 3 weeks left in the season, and we weren't as good. We, for some reason, didn't play as well. Played Pittsburgh. I thought, even though we got beaten 5 last year by Pittsburgh, I bet you 60, 65%, maybe even 70 at times, we were the better team on the ice. But they had better scorers, and we'd go down there, and Fleury was stopping everything in goal. And they'd go down with some great offensive players, as we all know, and they'd score, and they beat us. But we're different than we were a year ago. We have more depth on 4 lines. We have a lot more experience and depth on the blue line with some of the deals we made at the deadline. So I feel strong about our club. We're still young, real young, but the guys that went through it last year have that under their belt. I don't think we're going to go in and be skitterish. I don't think we're going to go in and be nervous. I think we're going to go in and play well against a very good Washington team. You mentioned Pittsburgh's offense and, the Kessels and the Markovs, and, of course, we know about Crosby. Ovechkin can do some things for Washington. A lot of these teams have the great offensive player. Do you have the great offensive player, JD, that you can rely on to get that big goal for you in a big spot in this series? What's your take? I know you got a lot of depth, you got a lot of balance. How about the great offensive player? What do you
we added Panarin. We made a trade with Chicago. He had 82 points, the majority of them in the last quarter of the season. He just caught fire. He's a great kid who's very motivated, and he's a finisher and a playmaker. So, yeah, we look at this series. When you look at teams like Pittsburgh and you look at teams like Washington, their power plays are exceptional. Our power play was brutal most of the year, but the last 20 games or so, we've been really good. So we're going to count on our power play, try to be disciplined, try not to give up too many power play opportunities, and because we know how good Washington is on it with Backstrom, the way he moves the puck, the way Carlson shoots it from the point, the way Ovechkin can take those one-timers. We get that. They're good. Listen, they're good. We got to deal with it. But we're a better team offensively without question than what we were a year ago, and we have a lot more balance in our lineup with the four lines. And we added Ian Cole at the trade deadline on the blue line. We've got a defense that's mobile, that moves the puck good, and Seth Jones and Zach Werenski are our number one pair. Werenski's 19 years old. Seth is 23, and in my opinion, Seth should be in the running for the Norris Trophy as the best defenseman in the game. He's had a phenomenal year. Now, I understand we're Columbus. We don't get quite the recognition that others do, simply because we haven't won. I get that. But this guy is good. He's really good.
Wow, listen to JD. He's flying today. All right, how about the moves you did? Did you make the moves at the deadline with a series in this division in mind? I mean, that's what a lot of franchises do, right? Yeah, it's a marathon, then it becomes a sprint. So what was the game plan as far as JD is concerned with these trades that you made? You sound like you made 2 or 3 of them. What was the JD mission there? What do you want to do?
Well, we added Ian Cole in the blue line just because we wanted some experience. Help our penalty kill for sure. Add some experience. He's won with Pittsburgh in the past. And with our club, we didn't want to take anybody away from our club. We wanted to add. And when we did that, our team really responded. We added Cole. We added Thomas Vanek up front. And, boy, has he been good for us. He's been around. He's been on a number of different teams. We had an injury to a young player who's a really good, big power forward by the name of Josh Anderson. He was out with a knee, and we needed somebody. So we added Vanek, and he just caught fire. He's been really good for us. And then we added an experienced centerman who had played in Columbus in the past. His name is Mark Letestu. He's a very intelligent player, kind of one of those guys, the Swiss Army knife guy. If you need him here, he can play there. If you need him here, he can play there. And he's good on faceoffs in our zone, especially to the right of our goalie. He's a right-handed shot. He can win him there. On the left side, we've got Dubinsky. He can win him over there. So it balanced us out without taking anything away from our hockey club. And I think our players like that. They just sort of all of a sudden perked up and went on a winning spree, and we're in the playoffs.
And you know Tortorella well. You had him with the Rangers all those years. You took a chance there a year or so ago. You brought him in. He's probably matured. I know he's a feisty son of a gun, but he's won a Stanley Cup. Let me hear about his involvement and his maturation here in the last year or so. What do you see?
He's been great. He's just been nothing short of great for us. The coach of the year last year. What I liked about him this year, Chris, is we had some injuries and weren't playing real well about the 50-game mark of the season. And I wasn't quite sure where this was going to go. And he actually he was still firm, but he didn't overreact to anything. He went to work. The coaching staff rolled up their sleeves and persevered instead of somebody losing the whole situation by overreacting or things along those lines. And John didn't. Torts was he was a consummate pro, and the players here have really reacted strongly. We needed here, when I got here and hired Jarmo Kekalainen with the Blue Jackets 5-some years ago, it's hard, Chris, in this game to change the culture of an organization. It takes a long time. And respectfully, John Tortorella has been a major part of that. And People come to work now. They don't overreact. They come to work. The locker room's good. He knows it's the players' locker room. They deal with themselves. If the coach steps in, they listen to him intently. So that situation's in a good place right now. And with that happening, when you bring young people, because this is a draft and development league, you bring young people in, your standards are starting to get set. Your work habits are there. You've got leaders with that role. So it's been good.
Are you surprised that the Capitals switch goalies here and hope he doesn't start for this, at least the first part of this series? Did that surprise JD?
No, because they got two good ones. I mean, if you just be frank about it, Grubauer has been very good in the last half of this season. Holtby's still good, so nothing would surprise me there. They got two guys that can go, and if something happens, they just go to the other one. They're in good shape.
They are, all right. How about the city of Columbus, J.D.? You've been there a long time, Ohio State football. You've told me about the Columbus-Pittsburgh rivalry. Is there pressure on you from the fan base, as there would be in New York? Is there, in a big market, is there pressure on you from the fan base, let's get out of the first round for a change? Or are they so happy to still be a professional sports team and be a good team that can live with the fact that they have not been able to get through Pittsburgh? What's your take on that first?
Well, the truth of it is this is the first time in their franchise history they've made the playoffs in 2 straight years. So they're very happy about that, but they want more, and they deserve more. They've been very good to us. We realize that we're in this series to win it, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if we win it. If we don't win it, as young as we are, with the Pierre-Luc Dubois at center ice and Werenski and Jones and others on the blue line, we're there. We just have to continue to improve. So I look at it as though we're here to do one thing, and that's to win a series. And if we don't, it's not like our window's closing. Our window's just opening. Even Panarin, a young man like him, even though he only has 1 year left on his deal, I mean, he's given us something that we have never had. He broke the franchise record for points this season. So there's a lot of good things happening. We in management have to realize, win or lose, where you are, where your window is regarding is it open for trying to win a championship, and deal with it as is. So no overreaction, no underreaction. We just want to go to work and get better.
Good job, JD. Thanks for a few minutes. As always, this day, you always come on and say hello. Good luck here in this series. Appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure, Chris. Thanks, man. Take care of yourself.
Okay, John Davidson, thoughts. 15 in front of the hour. We continue here on Mad Dog.